Welcome back to Eclipse Theatre LA's Monocropolis, Round 2. In March, you helped choose your audience favorite, and the judges' winner was chosen by a panel of industry professionals. This time around, you'll see some new faces and some old faces. Returning actors. At the end of all 6 performances, there will be a number and instructions to text your favorite, who could end up in the grand finale in December. Thank you, and enjoy watching Monocropolis.
All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. Old Willie Shakespeare wrote that several hundred years ago. Funny thing is, most people don't realize it until they're in Act 3. In Act 1, you're too busy having fun being a kid. The unbridled joy of Act 1. Starting into kindergarten, grade school, meeting other characters that'll be your very best friends throughout the rest of the play. The thing about most of the characters in Act 1, they can't wait to get to Act 2. They just can't wait to be a grown-up. They'll get there soon enough. As Act 1 draws to a close, they're graduating high school, making plans for the future, maybe college or a job or travel. And then they're into Act 2. Act 2. Now that's where the real meat of the play is, isn't it? You do a lot of living in Act 2. Some people get married, have kids, career. Of course, you do face a lot of challenges. What good play doesn't have obstacles and roadblocks for the protagonist to overcome? Adulting makes you face a lot of things. Mortgages, life's little surprises, even watching some beloved characters now well into their Act 3 slowly start to step off the stage. But your plot is so strong in your play that you can turn that attention to your loved ones, your family, your kids, your friends. Make big plans and dreams with all those that are still on stage with you. Now, the funny thing about Act 3 is usually you're well into it before you even realize it. You think you're still in Act 2. You're not that old. And when it finally starts to dawn on you, that's when you reach what they call a crossroads in the play. You are starting to feel a bit older, having a few health issues. You start looking around and realizing that some of the characters from Act 1 and Act 2 have been slowly written out of the play. And you get confused. When did I get old? What happened to Act 1 and 2? How'd they go by so fast? Was I so busy following the script that I missed out on a lot of living? Then it hits you like a ton of bricks. There never was any script. The whole play has been improvised. No rehearsals, no retakes, just every moment, every line, live and in living color. And that's when you start to realize, looking back at what you accomplished, you look at your kids who now are into their Act 2, raising their own little Act 1ers, your friends, your career, and you think to yourself, you know what? I've improvised a pretty good play so far. And you say so far because you still have a lot of storylines you're going to follow before the finale. Oh, you get nervous like all actors do about what's going to happen when this gig is done. I guess you just hope that the big theater critic was impressed enough by your performance to cast you in the next play. Maybe even reunite you with some of your former castmates from Act 1 and Act 2. And when you finally do face that final curtain call, if all the characters whose lives you touch throughout the play, if they give you a standing ovation and they say, he gave one hell of a performance, then you'll know your play was a hit. All the world's a stage, break a leg, my friends.
Thanks, Donna. Thank you for that introduction. Hello, everyone. Hi. First, let me say thank you so much for having me. I hope you don't mind my intruding here tonight. I know I don't belong, but I wasn't sure where to go for answers, so I reached out to Donna, who lives in my building, and she suggested that I stop by and talk to you ladies. But it'll just be this one time, I promise. So you're probably wondering what exactly I'm doing in a private Zoom meeting meant for women of color. I'm like the whitest, I know. Sorry. See, I'm recently divorced after 8 years of marriage. He's a good guy, but he didn't want kids. A fact that he failed to tell me until years into our relationship. First we were too young, and then we were too busy with our careers. And then, 3 years later, when I asked again, he said we were waiting for the right time. So I waited, and I waited, but it was never the right time for him. So I gave up. I mean, who wants to have a kid with someone who doesn't even want to be a parent, right? So eventually we ended it, and I spent some time getting settled into my new single life, and then I started to feel that itch again. I wanted to be a mom. And I was staring down the barrel of 40, so I started off at a fertility clinic, and they said, "You're perfectly capable of having a baby." But strangely, that did not make me happy. So then I went to look at sperm donors, but something about that didn't feel right either, so I left. Because I just knew that I wanted to adopt. And not a baby either, but a kid, a child, who needs a mom as much as I needed a child. So I filed papers with every agency I could find, and a lot of time went by, and people told me I was crazy. They said, "You'll end up wanting your own. You just wait and see." And then one day, I got a call. They had a 3-year-old African-American girl that they were looking to place, Isabel. They sent me her photo, and from the very first look, I knew she was my daughter. I knew. This is why I never had kids with my ex. This is why no donor would ever be good enough, why I didn't want to be pregnant, because my little girl was already here on Earth, and all I had to do was find her. Long story short, Izzy has been with me for 7 months. She is my everything. She is my soulmate. And I look into her eyes, and I just want to give her the world. But that includes giving Isabel her own story. Obviously, she will always know that she's adopted, and I will explain to her how we became a family, but it's also important that she knows her history, her culture. I want her to understand where she came from, to know those traditions, food, clothes, language. And most importantly, I want her to fully absorb what it means to be a black girl, and later a black woman, in this world. My hope for her is to have women of color as role models and mentors who can tell her and show her and explain to her all the things I can't. I want her to know that while her mommy is white, I have no intention of pretending that she is. Because she is perfect exactly the way she is, and I wouldn't change a thing, but I do understand that there's an entire side of herself that she shares with so many other women who aren't me. And I want her to stand proud in her fullest and truest self. So, I was hoping that maybe you could guide me in the right direction. Maybe help me seek out the right books or activities or something. Maybe, I am just realizing that this must sound crazy. Or stupid, really. I'm not even sure why I'm here, infiltrating your group. This isn't about me. I just thought that, or maybe I didn't think. I'm sorry. I should go. Oh, there's a message. You are welcome back anytime. Please bring Isabel so she can meet her future. Thank you. Thank you from both of us.
Okay, are you in the mood for something weird? Maybe even mucho weird? Okay, here goes. My name is Floridor McFinnigan Jones. Yes, really, that is my name. My mother, and this whole story is about my mother, so get ready for weird to the squared power, and yes, I am taking algebra in school. My mother gave me that name. Her name is Mary Jones. Mary Jones. And she decided that anyone named Jones should never have an ordinary first name. So that's why Floridor. Why McFinnigan? I mean, Floridor would have been plenty enough, really. I have no idea where she got McFinnigan. Don't get me wrong, I really, really love my mother. She's incredibly smart and creative, but totally unpredictable. She's like 30-something. I don't have a father. I mean, of course I had a father, but he died before I was born in Afghanistan, so I never really knew him, and my mom doesn't like to talk about him because I think they were only married for a really short time before he disappeared, and what I was told was some kind of huge explosion of some kind of bomb. Do I sound heartless? I don't think so. I mean, I wish I had a chance to know him. He was my dad, of course, but I didn't, and I'm 12, and I made it this far without a father, so my mother. She's incredibly smart. She debugs computers for some kind of company that repairs construction bulldozers. I actually don't understand what she does, but I do know one thing. She is massively, totally, reliably unpredictable. Okay, so here's what happened. We were driving back from a road trip to visit her parents in Arizona. It was night and we were driving west across the desert. I was dozed off in the back seat. She was listening to some kind of audiobook about sword fighting hundreds of years ago, or maybe I was dreaming that. I'm not sure. Anyway, I woke up and we were parked in a gas station somewhere in the middle of no place. I really mean no place. I sat up, looked around, and the gas station was the only building in any direction. I could see my mom opening the door to the mini-mart store. I guess to pay for the gas or something. I had to pee. Nothing weird there. Okay, this is where it starts to get weird. So I got up, got out of the car. My dog didn't even move. He's such a slug. I ran to the mini-mart store because I guess that was where the bathroom was. I opened the door, spotted the bathroom sign, and yelled, "Hey Mom, I'm going to the bathroom." She raised her hand and said something I couldn't hear, and well, nothing unusual happened in the bathroom. Duh. I finished. Yes, I washed my hands. I walked outside thinking about absolutely nothing, and I strolled to the pump where our car was. It was gone. My head jerked from left to right. No car. I looked behind me. No car. Without even thinking about it, I reached for my phone. Nothing. I'd left it in the back seat. I will absolutely admit that I completely panicked. I sort of spun around in a circle, looking again at everything and nothing. I do not know how brains work, but this is what mine was doing. She knew I was in the bathroom, so she wouldn't just drive off. But maybe she was carjacked. I looked around. Nothing. And then I thought, I'll go back inside and call her. But then I realized I didn't know her cell phone number. It's programmed into my phone, and I know it's dumb, but I never memorized it. And then, suddenly, my total, complete terror just disappeared. It just disappeared. Somehow I just knew that some ways down the road, my mother would look back over her shoulder and shriek when she sees I'm not in the back seat. She'll come tearing back here at 100 miles per hour. So I let out a big breath, walked to the front of the mini-mart, sat down on a bench, and closed my eyes. Boy, was I gonna bust her when she came back. But then I realized someone had sat down beside me. "You ready to go?" Mom asked. I topped off the air in that leaky tire. Yep, you guessed it. The only thing weird in the story was me.
My new grandson looks like a baked potato, metaphorically speaking. I don't think that's right. He literally kind of looks like a baked potato. You know, when you leave a baked potato in a microwave, yes, I know microwaving baked potatoes is cheating and they're better in the oven. But if we get stuck on quibbling about things like that, we'll never get through this. I agree, baked potatoes should in fact be baked, but sometimes convenience takes precedence, except for reheating pizza. That should always be done in the oven. Anyway, where was it? Oh, right. He looks like a baked potato. You know what's funny about the word potato? A single potato is spelled P-O-T-A-T-O. But as soon as you pluralize it, they want you to throw in the E at the end right before the S. What's that about? Oh, sorry, I digress again. My grandson looks like a potato that's been in the microwave too long, weird and shriveled and wrinkly. Like the essence of it is kind of there, but maybe missing something. It's the glass half full, potato skin half filled scenario. I'm not even sure if this makes sense. The point is, I thought I'd immediately see him and go, oh, what a beautiful baby. But I didn't. And I don't know how I feel about that. Yes, I actually do. I know I feel bad, or maybe I'm a bad person. I feel like I'm supposed to feel a certain way, because I don't. That must mean I'm a bad person, right? Or maybe there's something broken inside of me. Other than not being instantly blown away by the miracle that is my grandson, I don't think I'm a particularly bad person. So this is confusing to me. Let me back up a bit. I taught school for 32 years, every grade from K-6, and then some college for 4 years, so I could get a glimpse of those kids that I taught and what they turned into. I have to say I wasn't necessarily impressed. Many of them felt just as lost in college as when I was helping them wipe their noses and tie their shoes in kindergarten. And the biggest difference was probably not that they'd stopped eating glue and started sniffing it. Not that all college students are glue sniffers, they aren't, but they all seem as though they're glue sniffers. You follow? Probably not. I'm not even sure I follow. Maybe I'm just avoid talking about what's really bothering me. The fact that my grandson isn't cute and cuddly to me, you know, the baked potato thing. I think the reason I told you about teaching is to give you some context for why I'm completely burned out on children. No, I don't hate kids, not in the least. I'm not that kind of grump. I'm just tired of them. Like the decades of drama, pulling hair, bullying, teasing, crying, excuse making, etc. It took away any enthusiasm I have for being around them. I did my time, you know. Oh, I can still see a video of a kid doing something cute and smile and not dead inside. At least I don't think I am. Oh goodness, what if I am dead inside? Just one of those bitter old lazy ladies who doesn't want to be around anyone. I don't think I am. I still enjoy parties or gatherings. I suppose is more accurate. My partying days are definitely behind me. Now it's a calm gathering with a glass, maybe a glass and a half of wine with plenty of water so I won't wake up with a headache. Okay, I am old. It doesn't matter. It's not germane to this conversation. I am not dead inside. You'll just have to take my word for it. Back to the potato. It's not my fault Paul was a late bloomer. It's not my fault he didn't settle down and have a baby until he was in his 40s. It's not my fault I'm in my late 60s before getting to be a grandmother. It's not my fault. Well, according to Gary, that's Paul's father and my always charming ex-husband, he says it is my fault. He says that I stunted him, that I shouldn't have breastfed him until he was 5. Look, don't judge me. There are many places in the world where that's quite normal, at least not as unusual as it is here. I went back to work right after he was born so Gary could finish working on his master's, and we needed my salary to get by. So I didn't get a lot of time with Paul. And when I was home, I was wanting that bonding experience. Anyway, I don't believe that I stunted him or that I am the reason he didn't settle down because he had mommy issues like Gary said. Look, maybe if Gary hadn't been so eager to find Paul a new stepmommy before finishing the relationship with his real mommy, and maybe if his choice of stepmommy hadn't been a 23-year-old graduate assistant from his American Lit class, maybe 9-year-old Paul would have seen a more healthy relationship model. Maybe he wouldn't have been afraid to settle down because he was sure that every marriage ends up in bitter divorce with the mom left alone as the primary caregiver while the dad is off playing house with his new toy. I am not bitter or dead inside. I promise you'll just have to trust me on this. It's just, what if I don't have anything left anymore for a grandson? I guess that's what is at the heart of it and what I'm worried about. What if it's just too late? What if he's just another person to me and I don't get any better than this? They left me alone with him while they went out for the first time in months. And when I look down at him, I see a baked potato. A smiling baked potato. Okay, I promise I'll do my best, okay? I just wish your daddy hadn't named you Gary.
Thank you all for coming tonight. And a special thanks to the great staff here at the Athens Amphidome. They're great, aren't they? I'm Dionysus, and a lot of you know me as the god of wine and fertility, and yeah, sure, I like to have a good time. Who doesn't? But you know what's not fun? Running out of wheat before the end of the month because you didn't plan your drachma spending. We've all been there. And that's why I'm excited to talk to you today about our new Olympus line of products. Skin creams, olive oils, defoliants, and exfoliants. I used to live in an open-air studio near Philippa. Now I've got a 4-bedroom mini Parthenon with a marble sunken bath. But in order to generate that money, you've got to find other networks and sell to them. You know any stonemasons? They have good income and steady work. Poets are good after festival season. Fishermen, get them in your team. They're dependable and hardly ever get raided by sea pirates. Right now, I've got an upstream revenue of 14 people. Want to know a little secret? None of them are slaves. If you want to push product, don't waste your time on slaves. They don't have money. They don't know people with money. Yes, I feel bad for them too, but this is about selling high-end merchandise, not some social statement on the ethics of owning people. Also, shepherds. They have no money, no friends, and they're some of the meanest people you'll ever meet. Sales is about being dynamic. Start with a song. Sweet Home Santorini. Not a singer. Tell him a joke. I heard Zeus got someone pregnant by turning himself into a shower of gold. I must be doing something wrong because when I give a golden shower, I just get a dry cleaning bill. Go ahead, use that one. Pyramid scheme. You're thinking of the Egyptians. This is more of an Acropolis arrangement. Much better. Even if your entire town is just you and your extended family, head on down to your nearest city-state and poke around. And I can't stress this enough, stay out of Sparta. They have their own line of products and they're a little competitive. Unless you want to get kicked down a well, best steer clear. Thank you all for coming. Don't forget to pick up your sample Olympus product bags and try to sell them or you will be charged.
Hi, konnichiwa. I'm Misaki, a lucky cat. You know, the type of cat that sits on top of counters and waves at you. We lucky cats represent good luck. Duh. And each color that lucky cat comes in has a different meaning. My color is white. My color means that I represent purity, happiness, and positive things to come. My friend Samurai's color is black. Her color means that she can ward off evil spirits. So here I sit at a sushi restaurant. Oh, sushi. There's a fish tank sitting next to me. I'm telling you, if I were a real cat, I would eat up those little fishies. Ever since I first moved here, that's the only thing I have ever wanted to do. But every time I try to do it, there's always a pesky human moving me back to my original spot. Just look at them. They're so soft and chewy and yummy. Oh, sushi. Sorry, I get distracted sometimes. Can I talk about my day? So I was sitting here on the counter, you know, looking at the fish, dreaming of how I get to eat them someday. But then, out of the blue, there were a plate of delicious rainbow rolls sitting next to me. The fish on top looked so good, it made my mouth water. I tried to move, but then ended up falling on my right side, which was on the arm that I'm waving, my right arm. I started to roll around a bit more just to get closer and try to get it. But then, tragedy hit me, and a pesky human once again move me back to my original spot. What's that? I'm plastic? I can't eat sushi? No! What am I gonna do now? Ask for plastic sushi? Ooh, what's that you're saying? You will give me plastic sushi? Ooh, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you.